Hello. Hello. Thank you for. Hello. I am an energy healer, a light worker, a chosen one, a star seed. It's 365 days. Hello. I'm sending you blessings on Friday. Hello. Thank you for joining me today for the reading out of the Song of God. It's Friday, the 10th of July. I feel like I've got a little angel tapping on my shoulder saying, "Don't worry, Pamela. Be yourself." And yes, I'm here to be truthful and authentic with you, but when anybody ends up sitting behind a camera on a daily basis trying to make content, there's a problem, because there's so much control happening in the background of this conscious mind for all of us. There's so much need to try to do more, to be better, to make it look more perfect, to make sure that everything is right. And what is this with the quest for perfection when we have such a wonderful example of our earth, Mother Earth, and how that need for perfection is just in the source of the creation itself, just in the intention, just in my openness, my willingness to be here. And that's all that I need to do. I need to show up for myself so I can show up for you. In all honesty, it doesn't matter how I'm feeling. And to not to put too much emphasis into the preparation. I suppose that is also a conscious reminder that we don't have to go out seeking God in anything, because that is happening right here inside us. The flow state that a lot of people seek, and that word that is becoming part of the spiritual vocabulary, get into the flow, it's a surrender. And we almost lose that connection because we're not considering the heart space enough. The logical mind is taking over. How do we surrender from the physical body? Only through practice. You're not all of a sudden going to be able to say to yourself when you're in a situation, or you want to relax your body, or you want to even start meditating, without consciously switching off parts of the physical body. And that should be done especially before bedtime as well. Anybody who's struggling with insomnia or waking up, with anxiety, or feeling like they haven't rested because sleep has been disrupted, needs to do the detachment from the physical body exercises and techniques. I started practicing with the Yoga Nidra technique in 2013, and once I started teaching that in the classroom, it became almost subconscious, so that after a time, what is a process that might take 25 to 45 minutes to complete lying down can be done almost instantaneously inside the body by a thought, because we know what we feel like beforehand, and we know through a process of slow, steady detachment what the outcome is to get us to that point where we are completely super relaxed, disconnected from the body, and able to focus the energy inwards and the awareness inwards, so that we're connecting then to source. Deep soul, spirit level healing. once the muscle memory, the mind memory, the body has been through that process enough times, we can will that instantaneously. So if we can disconnect from the body during the day when we're working or doing anything that's stressful or having to apply ourselves to a chore or something that feels random and mindless, we actually have the ability to conserve the energy. We use the detachment process to get us into a state of observation. And our hands, our bodies, our legs, our even speaking and hearing, it happens on two different levels. And then we can start creating more areas of consciousness in the mind or in our perception or in our intuition. And it becomes pretty interesting when you start playing with those different levels of consciousness in the body and the mind. Okay, I am going to start today's reading. Even those devotees who, endowed with faith, worship other gods, worship me alone, O Arjuna, by the wrong, imperfect method. I alone am the enjoyer, and also the Lord of all sacrifices and worship. But they do not know me in essence, and hence they fall on the path, or from the path. The worshippers of the gods go to them, to the ancestors, go to the ancestor worshippers. To the deities who preside over the elements go their worshippers, but my devotees come to me. At the outset, a word of caution. It is possible to see me and God that occur in the Bhagavad Gita as implying the transcendental cosmic reality, the infinite which is manifest in infinite ways and whose nature is the entire manifest creation. That is the correct principle, the right approach, the proper method. Those who cannot rise immediately to this height in yoga sadhana, sadhana meaning spiritual practice, are not forsaken. They can approach God through any of the paths, modes, or symbols, but they should never forget that the goal is the Supreme Being and not the path, mode, or symbol chosen. It is, if this is remembered, the great indwelling presence in all will accept their worship and lead them to the correct method through the spirit of inquiry. My goodness, no wonder it was so difficult getting this reading out this morning, and I was so perturbed about finding the right space and making sure that, you know, if I was the viewer, if I was projecting myself outwards into your space, what were you seeing? And I was overanalyzing it. Can I say this again? They can approach God through any of the paths, modes, or symbols, but they should never forget that the goal is the Supreme Being and not the path, mode, or symbol chosen. It is on account of ignorance or misunderstanding that the frail human heart accepts the symbol as the truth, the part as the whole, the aspect as the reality. When this happens, the soul reaches union with those objects of adoration. Though it has lost a golden opportunity of direct self-realization, it will return here to make further progress. Thus, whatever path or symbol is chosen for worship, there should be an awareness that the symbol is worshipped as God, in the sense that what is actually worshipped is the infinite, not so obvious reality in the universe. What is obvious is a mental creation. From that investigation into the nature of God begins, and then the answer arises. God realization happens. When this happens, the questioner is absent. Swami Shivananda has a beautiful poem which says, "Ignorance knocked, wisdom opened, and ignorance ceased to be." Ignorance cannot face wisdom. Darkness cannot face light. The ego cannot face God. Okay. Yeah. Time to release control and surrender. In that surrender, we can be present. And only in the presence of that can we keep our ego in check. So as an energy healer, and if there are any other energy healers out there or people doing this kind of conscious healing work, I'm interested to know what process you go through before you do any kind of intuitive prana or energy healing work to surrender. And using the techniques of detachment, whether it's yogic or your own learned or whatever techniques and experiences you've come across that help you get into that space where you've completely surrendered into presence with God's source spirit. I think that we are all dissonanced into sometimes believing that it's just not there when it's permeating through everything. And we are welcomed into this union to have a love relationship with ourselves and with God because of the omnipresence that fills us and is everywhere. Last and final take. Thank you so much for joining. Absolute last of the last final take. Thank you so much for joining me on this channel today. If the messages resonated with you, please share them. Did we both make it to the end of this? I think you're all awesome. I'm sending you lots of love, peace, and light. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Namaste. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How are you? I am sitting under, is it a pine tree?